Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. I did the startup style and left my pink badge on. So as you might know it from the pitches this morning, because I mostly was in the pitching session. I'm very happy to be here today. I have a two-folded presentation. First part would rather be on the activities at Earlybird, and especially with regard to our activities close to universities. And second part, we also want to look at some fundraising opportunities. So now, yeah, that's the right one. So Earlybird in general was founded 1997. We are present since 26 years. We have 2 billion under management. We have done more than 200 investments so far. Annually, we see around 14,000 startups in Europe. We have done 17 funds in the last 26 years. 40 exits, 8 IPOs, 32 trade sales. And right now we have five funds running at the same time. So we are a fund platform, you could say. These funds are divided by stage. So 3 funds cover seed, early stage, and growth. Then we have 1 fund dedicated to the Eastern European market and a 5th fund dedicated to health topics. All in all, we are 85 people, and our main offices are Berlin, Munich, London, Paris, and Istanbul. And we do so, we have these different offices and this multi-fund concept because the European startup landscape is really fragmented and we want to be close to the ecosystems. That's the concept behind. And if we talk about being close to the ecosystems, you can see over here that in 2011 we had unicorns from 8 different European cities, and in 2021 we had unicorns from 65 European cities. So as you can see, the startup landscape is getting more fragmented, more decentralized, and how we tackle this at Earlybird is that we set up a new fund generation for seed investments that is close to European universities. So we say that Europe has great universities, also great research entities like Fraunhofer or TNO in the Netherlands, for example, and that there's lots of innovation, lots of talents, and an untapped potential to create more startups. And we want to be the first professional investor supporting these startups, backing these startups, technology agnostic and industry agnostic. We see lots of deals, I would say, from climate tech for sure, from industrial tech covering advanced production, advanced materials, robotics, sensors, automotive, and for sure we see lots of deals in the field of AI, digitization. We do hardware or software investments or a mixture. So here you see a little bit of the concept of this university fund. Yeah, we try to connect with leading European universities, being close to the universities, being connected to professors, being connected to the tech transfer offices, also being connected to interesting local players that are close to universities like accelerators and incubators. And we try to match this also, as you can see over here, with industry partners. We have also a wide range of industry partners because if we find interesting technology at universities with great teams, this is most relevant for industry players in Europe. And we have lots of investors from industry, different corporates from automotive, machinery, ICT, food, digital fields. And they strategically want to see interesting technology and innovation via us. So that's somehow the concept of Earlybird. We also want to discuss about the market affections in the recent years, especially since the war in the Ukraine started last year. And I brought some slides on the overall market development. As you can see over here, the red curve is showing the SaaS capital index multiple. So you can see that we had high multiples before the crisis. So 21 was a hype year. Investors were putting checks just on nice presentations. Actually, we also did a deal within 24 hours because there was high competition. Then with the start of the crisis, multiples declined. You see the average, oh, sorry, I want to go back. You see the average is going down to 6 last year. So we see in a decrease in valuation between, I would say, 20 to 40%, depending on the stage, depending on the industry, but significant increase in valuation. Also, investors are hesitating, are more cautious before they invest. There's still lots of investing opportunities. And to be honest, we at Earlybird, we fully continue our investment activities because we believe that there's a huge opportunity if you invest right now, because value creation is the same. If we look at the universities, teams are founded over there, grants are continuing, technology, IP, innovation is generated. As an investor, you just pay a lower price right now if you want to enter these companies, but value is the same like 2 years ago. So we see that this is a real big chance for us, and this will be also boosted. I wrote like windfall profit, because there's investors keeping money back, or in general, people are keeping money back, and this money will be floated on top in the upcoming years, we think. So from our perspective, great opportunity to invest right now. And if you look at the last crisis, like 2008, you had a similar decline in valuations, like 20 to 40%. And you can see today that this time, this crisis was a great driver for creativity and for new companies. All the logos that you see on the right side, they came out of crisis. So that's actually the possibility, the opportunity that we see as an investor during these times. And I also brought some general recommendations, I would say, for startups, what to pay attention to. It's not like a comprehensive PhD study that you will see over here. In the talks before, I also discussed with others, and one said, oh, the best advice would be don't do fundraising at all. But I mean, that would be also a little bit frustrating if I would stand here on stage and just say, please don't do fundraising in 2023. If you have a startup that's running great and you don't need additional money, for sure, that's a good way. Just cut down costs, wait a little bit longer. The market will come back. We don't know when, but it will come back. And I don't want to go also to these general advices. We look at stellar teams. We want to see huge markets. We want to see traction. But just some ideas that come to my mind or that I see in our daily activities where we think it's important that startups pay attention to. And one is that investors just pay much more attention to profitability than growth. If you look 2 years back, all the investors, they were only looking for hyper growth. And now, especially if you look at scale-ups, later stages, all the investors, they want to see good financial numbers. That's really important. So, and that also means that you should secure longer runway for your activities. Second thing is, investors don't really have a rush to decide during these times. So we don't really see competitive deals, to be honest. Like this example that I mentioned, where we invested within 24 hours because it was such a competitive deal, that doesn't really happen during these times. Could also happen, but it's not the normal case. The normal case is that investors just have more time, do extensive due diligence, and this should the founders also know and be prepared for this longer period and for this extensive due diligence. I think it's also a chance, because if you take an investor on board, you also want to see a personal fit as founder. You will have a certain fund manager that will be on your board, that will strategically support your activities. And if you have more than 24 hours, and you rather will have a couple of weeks to get to know each other, that's also a benefit for the startups, I would say. And maybe last idea, the business we are looking at should be crisis-proven. I think COVID, for example, was also a boost for certain startup activities or industries. For example, home office. home office was, for me, home office started tomorrow. You know, from one day to the other, I was at home office. And without COVID, I mean, it was really bad times, but without COVID, I think we would still wait 20, 30 years until we would reach such a established level of home office. So we are looking for crisis-proofing activities, also for activities that are addressing big trends no matter what will happen during the upcoming years. These markets will be there, these markets will be huge. There will be lots of companies that need these solutions, and these solutions are addressing a real problem with these big companies. And one example I just brought with me, we invested into Greenlight Carbon Technologies. It's concept-wise really interesting because it's a serious entrepreneur who had no clue about impact startups, no clue about CO2, carbon capture. And after he quit his last startup, he thought, okay, now I do a tour through Germany, going to different universities, meeting different professors, and looking for the best topic in the field of impact, climate tech, looking for the best tech team, and then we'll set up a startup together. And this is how Greenlight Carbon Technologies was founded. And they have a really disruptive or very interesting approach because the carbon capture process runs with ambient temperatures, and they want to come down to 60 euros per tons, which is really competitive. And to be honest, out of our seed fund, we have done 10 deals so far, because I still want to prepare the stage for you, Anna. The 10 deals were only because we did most of our investments were like tech investments. We don't have a women founder yet, yeah. So I'm really curious to learn more about your presentation and how we could also get some women teams in our portfolio. Thank you very much.